And when Canaanite, the king of Arad, that dwelled in the south, had heard this, that is, that Israel came by the way of spiers, he fought against them, and Canaanite was the overcomer, and he led away the prey men of Israel. And Israel bound himself by a vow to the Lord, and said, If thou shalt betake this people in mine hand, I shall do away their cities. And the Lord heard the prayers of Israel, and betook them the Canaanites. And Israel killed him, and destroyed his cities. And Israel called the name of that place Hormah, that is, cursing. Swiftly Israel went forth from the hill of Hor, by the way that leadeth to the Red Sea, that they would compass the land of Edom. And it began to annoy the people of the way and travail. And people spake against the Lord and Moses, and said, Why leddest thou us out of Egypt, that we should die in wilderness? Bread faileth, waters be not. Our soul loatheth now on this meat most light. Wherefore the Lord sent fired serpents, or fiery adders, into the people, at the wounds of which serpents and the deaths of full many men. They came to Moses and said, We have sinned, for we spake against the Lord and thee. Pray thou that he take away from us the serpents. And Moses prayed for the people. And the Lord said to him, Make thou a serpent, and set thou it in a perch. He that is smitten and beholdeth it shall live. Therefore Moses made a serpent of brass, and set it in a perch, and men hurt, and beholding it were healed. And the sons of Israel went forth, and setted tents in Oboth, from whence they went forth, and setted tents in Eabiram, in the wilderness that beholdeth Moab, against the east coast. And they moved from thence, and came to the strand of Zered, which they left, and setted tents against Arnon, which is the desert, and it appeareth in the coast of Amorites. For sith Arnon is the term of Moab, and parteth Moabites and Amorites. Wherefore it is said in the book of the battles of the Lord, As he did in the Red Sea, so he shall do in the strands of Arnon. The hard rocks of the strands were bowed down, that they shall rest in Ar, or abide there, and should lie in the coast of Moabites. From that place the pit appeared, of which the Lord spake to Moses, Gather thou together the people, and I shall give water to it. Then Israel sang this song, The water of the pit, ascend or go up, they sang together. The pit which the princes digged, and the dukes of the multitude made ready, in the giver of the law, and in their staves. And they went forth from the wilderness to Mattanah, from Mattanah to Nahaleel, from Nahaleel into Bamoth. Bamoth is a valley in the country of Moab, and the top of Mizgah, that beholdeth against the desert. Swiftly Israel sent messengers to Sihon, king of the Amorites, and said, I beseech thee, that it be leaveful to me to pass through thy land. We shall not bow into thy fields and vineries. We shall not drink waters of thy pits. We shall go in the king's way till we pass by thy terms, which would not grant that Israel should pass through his coast, but rather, when his host was gathered, he went out against Israel into desert, and he came into Jahaz, and fought against Israel, of whom he was smitten in the sharpness of the sword, and his land was wielded of Israel from Arnon unto Jabbok, and Ammon's sons, or his host, for the coast of Ammonites were holden with strong help or power. Therefore Israel took all his cities, and dwelled in the cities of Amorites, that is, in Hebron, in Heshbon, and in his towns. The city of Heshbon was Sihon's, king of Amorites, which Sihon fought against the king of Moab, and took all the land that was of his lordship, till to Arnon. Therefore it is said in a proverb, Come ye into Heshbon, be it builded, and made, the city of Sihon. Fire went out from Heshbon, flame went out of the city of Sihon, and devoured Ar of Moabites, and the dwellers of the high places of Arnon. Moab, woe to thee, thou people of Chemosh, hath perished. It gave the sons thereof into flight, and the daughters into captivity, to Sihon, king of Amorites. The yoke or lordship of them perished, from Heshbon unto Dibon. The weary men came into Nophah, and unto Medeba. And so Israel dwelled in the land of Amorites. And Moses sent men that should espy Jazer, whose towns they took, and wielded the dwellers. And they turned themselves and went up by the way of Bashan. And Og, the king of Bashan, with all his people, came against them to fight in Edrei. And the Lord said to Moses, Dread thou not him, For I have betaken him, and all his land, and all his people, in thine hand. And thou shalt do him as thou didst to Sihon, king of Amorites, the dweller of Heshbon. Therefore they smote Og with his sons, and all his people unto death, and they wielded his land.